Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Ray of Health podcast, where we shine a spotlight on medical innovations that are transforming lives. I'm your host, Dr. James Tan, and today we are diving into a breakthrough in regenerative medicine that could change the way we think about healing, not just for doctors and surgeons, but for patients around the world. I'm honored to have with me the CEO of Osteopore, Mr. Lim Yujing, a leader in biomedical innovation and the driving force behind a new generation of bioresorbable implants. Osteopore's technology has already been used in thousands of surgeries across the globe, and today we are going behind the scenes to learn what makes it so special. Yujing, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, James, for inviting me on the podcast. Very happy to be here.
For those unfamiliar with Osteopore, what is it that makes your implants so revolutionary compared to traditional implants?
Basically, as a company, what we have done is to combine 3D printing with a bioresorbable medical plastic that dissolves harmlessly in the body. So we've turned that into a scaffold technology that can be applied in a variety of surgical applications, including neurosurgery, orbital floor surgery, dental oral maxillofacial surgery, and recently in orthopedics. Beyond bone, we find that this technology has good applications in soft tissue as well, and that's what we've been working on recently.
In actual fact, I came across this amazing scaffold about 10 years ago as I was exploring moldable 3D printed scaffolds that can dissolve and then allow me to perform reconstruction in bone as well as soft tissue. So in shoulders, this is where I started using the scaffold. I use it as a mesh that helps to augment the shoulder rotator cuff repair. If you're not familiar with the shoulder joint or the structures that form up the shoulder, here it is. We have a model over here. This is the collarbone and this is the arm. And over here, these red little structures are the rotator cuff muscle. So the one that's most commonly torn in the shoulder is the supraspinatus tendon right here where I'm pointing. In the process of the repair, we surgeons reattach the tendon back to the bone. Sometimes the quality of the tendon is so poor that even after a repair, the tendon may re-tear again. So to prevent that or to lower the risk of that, we add on a patch or a mesh that helps to strengthen the entire construct. And the best part is this whole thing can be performed in an arthroscopic fashion or minimally invasive way, where the camera can be introduced into the body and the devices are passed through small incisions in the shoulder. I understand your implants are made using 3D printed bioabsorbable materials. Can you break that down for our audience? How does that work and how does the body respond to such an implant?
So what we have essentially chosen is a medical plastic that can dissolve in the body over a certain period of time. And in that time, the body is able to repair itself and eventually leading to tissue regrowth. So that's the technology that we have developed, and that's the technology that we have commercialized and applied in various applications.
Now that we know that this scaffold is bioabsorbable and its products can be absorbed by the body, are there any side effects that you have heard of or that's been reported from the usage of such a scaffold in the body?
I think anytime you deal with a foreign body that's placed into the human's body, there is always a chance that there might be some local reactions. But if we look at how the body heals, there always is an initial response from the body to trigger the regeneration to occur. So what is really important in this entire process is the control of the side products that come out from the dissolution process and from the medical plastic that we have chosen, which is something called polycaprolactone, or PCL in short. We have studied to know that it is easily metabolized by the body and eventually becomes carbon dioxide and water. So this is a very gradual process that happens over a period of time. And so the body has a lot of time to prepare itself to dispose of all these side products.
In fact, from my own experience, I've used it in my patients. It's very safe and over time, the patients develop almost no adverse side effects. You may wonder, why did I choose to use this product in the shoulder joint and not somewhere else like the knee? The reason is because, number one, I'm a shoulder surgeon. Secondly, because the re-tear rate of a rotator cuff tendon repair in the shoulder is as high as 60%. Despite all the advancement in surgical techniques and implants, we have not reached the level of re-tear success that we wanted to. And based on radiological studies after repair, 1 year and 2 years, the re-tear rate is still surprisingly high. And now that we have one that can be 3D printed according to the thickness and shape that you want, as well as something that has bioabsorbable byproducts. So, are we there yet?
As a matter of fact, as a company, when we were looking into the shoulder rotator cuff augment space, we realized that a lot of the technologies are around softer, more compliant, pliable collagen meshes. And that is fairly important from a biological standpoint. As we look into the mechanical or biomechanical demands of the shoulder rotator cuff, we understand that perhaps collagen could benefit from further strengthening from a mechanical standpoint. And I think that's where the scaffold can be useful and has a good application in the shoulder rotator cuff. So that's why it's one of the main reasons we propose to combine the Osteomesh with collagen in order to provide an augmented solution in rotator cuff augment.
There's more than one company that makes patches. In fact, a lot of them are from very established implant companies. What makes the Osteopore mesh special? What makes it stand out?
I think as we look into the various technologies available in the market at the moment, we do see that predominantly it's all collagen based. You do have one or two companies that have a synthetic combined with the collagen, but by and large, we do not see a complete scaffold being combined with the collagen. And based on our previous clinical experience in tissue regrowth, we know that the three-dimensional scaffold that we fabricate has the potential to lead to successful tissue regrowth. And that's why in our concept, we have applied the 3D scaffold together with the collagen in a bid to augment the outcomes for patients.
So for the sake of the viewers, I'm going to summarize and make it easy for you to understand what makes the repair successful. Two main components actually, essentially mechanical strength, and number two, biology. What do I mean? That means the repair must be strong enough so that it will not fail 5 minutes after you finish the surgery, or in fact 3 months later. So it's going to hold the whole tendon in place next to the bone so that healing can happen. So natural healing between the tendon to bone must occur, and that's why we talk about biology. And that's where I think a lot of the implants are lacking. In fact, we hope to have something that can create both the stability and the biology that it helps to improve blood flow, cellular infiltration, and stuff like that.
James, perhaps let me demonstrate how the mesh and the collagen can be applied in the rotator cuff. So this is the mesh, all right, without the collagen. And during surgery, this can be sutured directly to a collagen patch and then trimmed to the correct size that we need to get the tendon gaps. So here we have a mock-up of a collagen with the Osteomesh, and this is how we would place it across the rotator cuff to achieve that augment that we were talking about.
In actual surgery, this is pretty much what happens. Tendon gets repaired to bone, and the patch is tied down onto the tendon itself. So I've been using this mesh in the shoulder rotator cuff repair for quite some time, and I think by now I have done in excess of about 20 cases, and I've been happy with the outcome so far. Number one, patients have regained good range of motion and the pain has gone away. And number two, when I repeat the MRI at about 6 months after surgery, I can see the tendon is completely attached to bone, and lo and behold, the tendon is thicker than before. So the scaffold has added thickness to the original tendon, and that is something really, really exciting. You may argue that we have a small number of cases. I think based on the preliminary results that we have gathered, I would like to say that the future is bright for the Osteopore mesh in the realm of shoulder rotator cuff repair. Well, Yujing, as you know, Singaporeans are very concerned about safety. But this product has been approved in other countries?
Yes, we have approvals in more than 20 other countries around the world. It really started off in the craniofacial bone recon area, and that has more than 18 years of clinical experience now. So as a material fabricated into a scaffold, we have a large clinical experience and long clinical experience with it. And in the last 8 years or so, we've started going a little bit into the soft tissue space, and that really started off with rhinoplasty by placing the mesh in the area of cartilage. And then fast forward a couple of years later, we are exploring the applications in the rotator cuff augment. We do understand that it's early clinical days, but we do have certain expectations in terms of the recovery and the outcomes for patients.
So as you can see, this scaffold can be used in both bone, which is very solid, and then soft tissue as well. There's really no end to the applications. For example, you can use it in other tendons and ligament injuries, in the ankle, like the Achilles tendon, in the knee, where you can use it for ligament repair. I'm looking forward to exploring and expanding the indications. Did you know that Osteopore is a Singapore company made by Singaporeans? But is the product made in Singapore? Or is it, like most other companies, outsourced to other countries?
The product is definitely made in Singapore. We have a GMP facility that is regularly inspected and audited by the regulatory authorities. So we keep up to date and state of art in terms of regulations and quality control. So this facility houses our proprietary 3D printers. We have the ability to print with our scaffolds with the raw materials that we purchase. And the newer generations of our scaffolds are actually self-assembled and self-made. So there's a very interesting pipeline that we have prepared for the future. But at the moment, we really focused on trying to get our current products into the market and explore expanded indications of our products.
Okay, there you go. Truly local hero. So what's next for Osteopore? What are the milestones that you are looking forward to?
I think we, as an organization, we're always looking to improve ourselves in many ways. Very first is really to get the commercialization story going. So the company has been around for a while, but the commercialization history is over the last 7 to 8 years. We are really trying to build on the solid foundations that our co-founders have provided us, build on that technology and bring that out to as many patients as we can. So it involves working very closely with clinicians, working with distributors and partners that take an interest in regenerative technology and making a difference to patients' lives. Beyond that, we also want to focus on bringing new technology into the industry. And that's where that R&D landscape and development landscape comes into play. There are certain technologies that we in-license or develop on our own. And over time, through our network, we hope to bring that into the industry.
Okay, well done, Osteopore. We look forward to more good news from the company. I'm actually very excited. This product is, an idea that came out of a university in Singapore, and the company is founded by Singaporeans and is going overseas. Yujing, maybe share with us some information and interesting bits about the foreigners or the foreign doctors, the reactions.
I think the landscape has changed quite a fair bit. If you look at maybe beyond 10 years ago and the recent 10 years, and that is all because of much better awareness about where Singapore is in the world map. And so it's quite an exciting conversation to have, to be honest. When we go into the ASEAN region, a lot of the foreign surgeons and distribution partners are very interested and excited to know that such a technology exists in Singapore and it's not originating from a traditional US or European organization. So that actually helps us in that conversation, in communicating quality, safety, and efficacy. And the standing of Singapore as a medical hub with high quality surgical care also helps us in that promotion and approach to the doctors. The same can be probably said as we go into Europe and Australia, with Singapore standing as a high quality healthcare system, helping us in that early conversations. So to be very honest, the Singapore brand is pretty strong, and especially at a high-risk implantable level, that actually helps us in communicating that assurance in quality and reproducibility.
Yujing, thank you for sharing your insights and helping us understand the science behind Osteopore's technology. It's inspiring to see how a company that started here in Singapore is now contributing to the global conversation around regenerative healing.
Thank you very much, James, for inviting me to be on the podcast. It's a real pleasure to be able to share what Osteopore does and how we aim to contribute in the world of regenerative healing.
As a locally grown innovation making international impact, Osteopore represents the kind of progress we are excited to see more of, where science, sustainability, and forward-thinking design come together to improve outcomes. We look forward to seeing how this journey continues to evolve. For those of you watching or listening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow Real Health on YouTube and all our social platforms. We'll be sharing more conversations like this with medical innovators who are rewriting the future of healthcare. Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy. We'll see you in the next episode.